the crown. Rockies to bats. My team, my vision. Placing both bets. Strategies drawn with passion and might. Gridiron tactics with all the night. Set my line up this time. Gotta make that call. Dynasty dreams, I won't let them fall. Every yard, every play, it's all on me. The future's bright, champions you'll see. Hold the line and fight the sound. In Dynasty, we'll own this ground. Trading players, build it strong. In this league, we'll right the wrong.
Welcome to the live scene. It's Fantasy Flyer episode 5. Everybody say hi to Robert, aka Schnorr. Rob, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. Just ready to dive into it.
Ready
Get
to
this
dive?
mock draft free.
That's
Dive
right.
into it.
We are doing the rookie mock draft for Fiddy Tree. I said it at the end of video 4. We were doing a live mock draft, and there is a special guest with me. So Rob is joining. He is the team OG Swag, who we have talked about already in episode 3 when we went over the rosters. And now we are going to live mock just to let you guys know how this goes. We'll kind of just go through the rosters a little bit on our own. I'm not going to share too much of the video because me and Robert here, we're doing a little Zoom thing. So what we're going to do is just kind of chat about why we made our decision. We'll kind of give a little feedback, and then we'll move on to the next pick. I am going to do the odd numbers, and then Rob is going to do the even numbers. That sound cool? If you don't like it as a fan, that's what we're going to do because me and Rob already talked about it. So real quick, before we go into this, I didn't ask, I probably should have asked this prior, but Rob, what do you think of the pick setup that Whack has at number 1? So he's number 1 overall. He also holds pick 10 and pick 11 in this draft. And I don't know if how deep you've gone into other folks' rosters. Obviously, I've gone pretty deep. Spoiler alert. But what do you think of his entire rebuild setup now? Is this like really the opportunity for him to take off this year?
Yeah, I think he's got a very talented receiving core already. He's got a lot of depth there. And obviously, he has Anthony Richardson as one of his quarterbacks. Could pair it with another solid quarterback here. But he's also got 2 or 3 picks in the top 11. Great opportunity to use that as a starting point into foundation moving forward.
Yeah, I gotta agree. That's you kind of spelled it out for me. So this first pick for Whack here at number 1, big hole for him, in my opinion, is the quarterback. We all know the going rate for number 1 is Caleb Williams out of Chicago. He's set up to be successful. Chicago has done a lot of work on that roster, not only filling up with very talented receivers and making sure there are several different running backs there, but also working on both the offensive line and specifically defensive line. So for me, it is Caleb Williams at the first overall pick. I don't think that should be much of a surprise. You will be on the clock at number 2 with our friend Jack Doran.
All righty. Just going to look over this roster here, see what we got
Absolutely.
As a starting point. Usually that's my first look for what I want to do for mocking a team. But overall, I feel like the best overall decision to make in this scenario would be Jaden Daniels, the quarterback for Washington. He does have Will Levis and Bryce Young, but a third quarterback is always necessary, especially since you have to start 2 quarterbacks.
Yep.
And if one of those doesn't really pan out, Jaden could be that.
And there's a great
success.
There's a great chance that one of his he technically does have a 30 as Daniel Jones that is on the IR. and he hasn't activated him yet. But to back up your point, I think that we're looking at a situation where there's big uncertainty around Bryce Young. I think Will Levis is probably the most talented out of the three, and I think he's probably the most secure. But even Daniel Jones didn't necessarily have a great fantasy year in 2023. So I like what you're saying, where it's kind of a similar situation to Will Levis. Great pieces around him, even Caleb Williams too. Great pieces around him. Calvin Ridley's there. You still have a talented Chikakonku at the tight end. You're going to have a pass catching running back, Tony Pollard. I like your thought process, and I like the pick. I can't spell really like this. I probably should stand up, but yeah, you know. And that puts me back on the clock with Matt at 1-3. And this is tough because in my original thoughts here was that Matt could go with either a quarterback, but he's or wide receiver, but he is the safest at quarterback currently. If I'm not mistaken, he has Tua, Geno, and Aaron Rodgers. You're looking at the roster. I'm
Yeah.
not. So he doesn't. It would be a 2025 quarterback to pick here. If you know, it's not somebody who would probably start a lot this year, but it would be somebody who would supplant Aaron Rodgers, assuming Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back in 2025 as a concern. However, if it breaks this way, and this is how the first two picks go, I don't know how you can go away from Marvin Harrison Jr. at this point. I feel like if you're already at least set for 2024, go with Marvin Harrison Jr., take him off the board. He is the quote unquote generational wide receiver out of this group. So I'm going to take Marvin Harrison for Matt at 3. I think it's just the smart pick if it was to go this way, if it fell to him at number 3.
I'd agree.
Very, very easy. Honestly, kind of a gift to him, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can take
Yeah.
somebody who's probably going to be like a top 5 wide receiver in the league in 2 years.
Yeah. Maybe Dorn makes a surprise and takes MHJ there. That too could be a possibility, but he's pretty.
He has CD.
Set.
Yeah, he's CD Lamb.
CD is, but is that a holdout? How long is he going to hold out for? When is Jerry going to pay up?
There is.
The answer is never. Jerry's a man.
In our chat, just to fill you in, within the last couple of days, we're recording this on the 9th. Within the last couple of days, actually last day, really, CD and Jerry had that whole, yeah, I'm not in any rush to sign CD, and CD just like LOL'd it on social media, which I don't know if you looked at any of CD's Twitter. He doesn't post like ever. Like on Twitter, he has like 3 total tweets for 2024. And that was like the 4th one. So it's
I also saw that him and Hollywood Brown each posted like a new guest Twitter header with them as teammates in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
So I don't think he's going to the Chiefs, but
I don't think he is. I think what you're looking at is that Hollywood knows he's at a short tenure in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And Brandon Cooks is a free agent next year. So I think you're looking at the plea to almost like we already have the deal done. That's what the LOL meant. And then he changes it to Hollywood to say, hey, will you fill in Brandon Cooks for Hollywood? That's a condition of me re-signing now. Anyway, we're up one. You're up 1-4. You have Colton's team, Young Joker's demise. This is where, in my opinion, this is where it can go a lot of different directions from 4 through really your pick at 7. This is where everything 4 through 7 dictates 8 through 11, and it kind of starts to shake down that way. I feel like the teardrop happens somewhere in our 4 through 7 range. So,
yeah. Just kind of pondering here, so looking over the roster, seeing where it's at.
And if you're pondering, imagine what Colton's doing, because I think I think there's so many things that could come to his head at 4. You got to kind of know where you're going to be, though. Like I feel like the 3 that we've picked are the top 3. It just depends on who goes first. And to Colton, that doesn't matter. Yo, stop.
Hmm.
We'll talk about it off camera. The ARB results are posted and they're wild, my guy.
I kind of saw one that affected my team, and you guys did me dirty.
I mean, were you surprised though?
No, it wasn't surprising.
Right. Like, come on, man. You had to
Knew
see
it-
that one coming. Jordan
knew it was
Love
going to
catching
happen.
$22.
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. Oh man, I think with this pick,
Yep.
I think I'm gonna go Malik Neighbors.
Gonna go with the neighbors. I think that this is completely on the table right now as just I believe his quarterbacks are Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, correct?
Trevor. Yeah, and then possibility of Jared Stidham,
Right.
but it's
Depends.
borderline on the mix right now.
Right. Right.
So
I agree.
kind of here it was the toss up. I had a toss up between Neighbors, Bo Nix because he has the other Denver quarterback, but I feel like that's extremely early.
Mhm.
And then the other option would be Drake May just because of how valuable the quarterbacks are.
Yep.
But Malik Neighbors, I feel like is the best overall player here. So that's why I'm going with that there.
Regardless of what happens really with Daniel Jones, he was comped very close to Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, there's maybe not ahead of him. You could have probably tossed him up at certain points, depending on which source you talked to or looked at or whatever, whoever's opinion you got. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, best available here, probably. Like, I think that's safe to say. And it fits the roster construction still as well, too. Like you said, if you're gonna potentially put in, free agency, which is something that we can start talking about,
Mhm.
then you have that option. 1-5. This is Taylor at Kirk and his cousins, and you've made my choice very hard now. Uh, because like I said, this is
Sorry, I
what
had to do it.
it's okay. It's if you don't do it, they're gonna do it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because I sit at 1-6. So whatever happens at 1-5, the rolls
Right.
downhill. So
Yeah.
to me, this, I know from past tendencies that Taylor is not one to take a tight end very often. So I feel like this isn't a Brock Bowers situation. I don't
Right.
see a lot of first round tight ends working out for a lot of folks, to be honest. But in general, where this, I think, and it's understandable, they are a 1 to 2 year project almost all the time. And it's the investment, right?
Right.
So, from a general football sense, I don't think that that's smart. I feel like he has three quarterbacks, but two of them are on the last legs of their career. And I feel like there's a question to bring that here. And then obviously Rome is there, as Roma Dunze would be the next logical wide receiver down the pole, but he has DJ Moore on his roster. So
Right.
you have
That's the dilemma
conflicting,
there.
right? And it's not like Keenan Allen who might, who might find a new home next year because he's got 1 year left, and maybe Rome will replace him, and I'll have two different wide receivers on two different teams. No, those are going to be there for a while. Moore just got his extension, and Dunze just got drafted. So I think I have to go
Yeah.
quarterback if it breaks like this. And obviously, we're not doing trades here, but at this point, if I saw neighbors go at 4 and saw the first 4 go, I might even attempt to trade up. Um, just
Yeah.
because I feel like this isn't necessarily the juiciest spot for Taylor to be in. Um, I think with him being a Patriots fan,
Hey,
I'll what?
read my mind there.
Yeah, I'm thinking Drake May here. I know Drake has had a better camp than has been led on by a lot of the media. If you look at a lot of his 11 on 11s and his 7 on 7s and you see the breakdown from the plays, he's doing a lot better than the receivers and the offensive line are letting him do. So it's just a matter of time of working his way to the starting lineup. And I think he is a great quarterback of the future. He will be fantastic for the second half of this year, or at least suitable for the second half of this year, and then maybe fantastic next year. And then you see what happens with potentially Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins later on. So That means you have me at 1-6, and I will be watching with a gleam in my eye.
I think after that quarterback pick, I think this one was made pretty easy for me. Honestly, I like Jordan Brooks falling to here at
You,
6th overall.
you like Brooks? Jonathan Brooks?
Jonathan Brooks, yeah. As a Longhorns fan, I can't believe I said his name wrong. Jordan Brooks, the linebacker on my team. That's why I was confused.
That's okay.
But Jonathan Brooks, 6 overall, I like that.
He is. I mean, he's got the best landing spot. He has the best opportunity halfway through the year. It makes sense given my roster. I've already talked about my roster. That video dropped yesterday. By the time this video drops, that video dropped yesterday, and that is what I am looking for. So it makes sense that you would make that pick. So that puts me at 1-7, and you'll never guess who I was going to put in your spot because you have Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders. So.
Uh, I'm going to make the difficult decisions here.
And again, this is what I meant when I said 5, 6, and 7 really dictate the rest of the draft, because it starts to flow downhill from here. It makes it harder on 8, 9, and 10 when 5, 6, and 7 go a certain way. So I was not predicting you to give me Brooks. I thought that you would give me. I honestly thought you'd give me Bowers. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't like mocking tight ends in the first round. I just feel like there's just.
I get it.
Just feel like it's too much of a reach. But unless there's. Also, I just don't like that pick for the Raiders. They drafted Michael Mayer last year.
Made no sense. And Michael Mayer came like he was exploding at the last 4 or 5 weeks of the year.
Like it just, and then they came out and said that their pick was literally a coin toss between him and Kerry and Arnold. It was just like, well, you're going to need guys to cover receivers when you're playing against the Chiefs. Like, why don't you just take a corner there? Why did you take another tight end that you didn't need because you drafted one early in the second round the year before?
Yeah, and they need cornerback help so bad. Good gosh. I'm looking at your roster right now because I have no idea. Like, logical pick is probably Rome, right? Like, best available. We'll follow that thought. Has a good quarterback. Love and Herbert.
But if you're looking at my shirt, and I want to give me a Bears player.
This is why I'm looking harder. You know what? Actually, I'll go with the stack. And it's probably a hair early to take him, but he's probably going to be the wide receiver 1 with the Chargers. So I'm going to go with Ladd.
Ladd McConkey.
Ladd McConkey here. I think I think a quarterback is on the table. Deshaun Watson hasn't been amazing, but also is tied to Cleveland until they run out of money. And he's obviously the starting quarterback with that type of payday when he's healthy. Yeah, I'll go with Ladd. Ladd McConkles. I gotta know how to spell McConkey. I think I spelled it right. So that leaves you at 1-8 with Colton. Colton back on the board.
Another tough decision to make here. All right, let's go back to this.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at now too. I'm interested to see where you could go on this.
Okay. I got some dynasty rankings that I'm looking at. I got some from the roster I'm looking at. You know what? Actually, I think this is a good spot for Brock Bowers.
I was just
Colton
thinking
Homer pick. The Raiders fan. He could pair him with Laporta. Let's throw Brock Bowers there.
I like it. I like it a lot, my friend. Brock Bowers at 1-8. Again, you look at it, fits the roster construction, right? Has a load of running backs. Wide receiver position is at least solid. It's the
He's
one
got
thing.
he's got his starters.
Yeah, it's the one thing he really doesn't have besides Laporta. You could argue Ertz might be there for a little bit in Washington. Jelani Woods maybe, but no dependable options. Leave the position secure at least starting next year, maybe. Hopefully, fingers crossed. That puts me back on the clock at 1-9 with Dorn. And if he took Jaden Daniels at number 2, I feel like the next spot for him at 1-9, there's really two, right? Wide receiver and well, not wide receiver is the third option for him. The second one would be running back. Because he is hurting for some solid running back. Khalil Herbert is no longer a starter. He did acquire DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Walker. Well, he has Kenneth Walker, but he acquired DeAndre Swift. He has the quarterback. This is
The only other, well, it depends on also what he decides to do with good old Nick Chubb on in his IR, and then what his timeline is for coming back.
yeah.
But
My opinion for that is, well, he's in a contract year.
Yeah.
So my opinion on it is if he's not going to be 100% at 50 some dollars, he's got to go. Because you have two options from the IR, right? You activate him at some point and you have to eat $50 somewhere, or you have to release him. And I think the logical thing for Dorn is to set the baby bird free, because if you're going to get 40 to 50 to 60% snaps of Nick Chubb at 70%, is that worth $50? And you're only going to get it for 12 weeks, maybe. I don't think he starts week 1. I don't think he plays. I see him coming back week 4 to week 6. That's the logical. If it changes, you aren't going to know before Wednesday when we got a cut. So, it's kind of one of those things where you have to make your bed and kind of go with it, in my opinion. He has CeeDee Lamb and Addison, but he doesn't really have, he has Deontay Johnson, but for the stack. And that's a receiver.
Yeah.
That's receiver. I'm gonna go wide receiver here. I'm gonna go receiver.
He also has Adam Thielen.
Yeah, and I don't know why there's so many.
Both Panthers receivers.
Real quick, I want to take just a quick, because Deontay Johnson he was traded from the Steelers to the Panthers, and all of a sudden everyone forgot that Adam Thielen was there. And I don't know why. Whenever I talk to, whenever I see videos or whatever, I'm doing my information, it's all about Deontay Johnson, Deontay Johnson, Deontay Johnson. Did we just forget? I feel like people just forgot. Granted, they weren't a top team. I get it's easy to forget, but Adam Thielen, he is also 33 years old. So, I'm gonna, yeah. He's got 2 more years on his deal. I think this is the last one with guaranteed money, so he may be on the way out next year. But
he's going to be 34 before the season starts.
Yeah,
he's got a birthday coming up, August 22nd. These 53 websites not lying.
There you go. I'm gonna. Oh man, so Deontay, that's gonna be gone. It's got to be a wide receiver, but I'm gonna go. I'll go a little out of the way. I'm gonna go Brian Thomas. No, I lied. Xavier Worthy. I'm gonna go Xavier Worthy for Dorn.
Okay.
I'm of a believer, and this will be the 4th video in a row I've said this on this channel. I'm a believer that good offenses create good fantasy players, but it's much harder to create a good fantasy player or have a good fantasy player on a bad offense. And I think, not to say that the Jaguars are a bad offense, but the Chiefs are definitely a better one. And so I think that is where you're going to see the opportunity for Xavier Worthy flourish eventually. And if it's before next year, it's going to work along with the Thielen timeline. So that puts it to you with the bottom half of the first round before we flip over the card and go to the second round. So you are 110 and you have Wacker again.
All right. And then I know I can't go wide receiver here because he's got a plethora of them. And he drafted We got him mock taking Caleb Williams, the 1-1. So I think this has to be a running back here. So I'm gonna give him Trey Benson for the Cardinals. Position of need. Don't know how much longer James Conner has left.
Does that make you sad a little bit as he's on your roster?
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's the truth, though. A 31-year-old hasn't played a healthy season in his life. You know, like it was bound to come one day.
Yeah, I just think it's probably the most logical choice here, just given where we've mocked with the first pick, and then just his receiving core is young and outstanding. I really like it. Nico Collins, Drake London, Scott Pickens, he's got Jackson Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson. He's also got Pickens. If I didn't already say that, he's got talent at receiver position. So just I think running back is the next logical option there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's stacked at wide receiver. There's no real reason to go hard on the wide receiver for him. So our first round, it's already on video. I don't need to really read it off, but Caleb, Jaden Daniels, MHJ, Malik Neighbors, Drake May, Jonathan Brooks, Lad McConkey, Brock Bowers, Xavier Worthy, Trey Benson. I'm real quick going to rewrite the board, so hold on with me 1 second while I attempt to do this one-handed, because I just have to switch over the picks real quick, and hopefully this doesn't take too long. Meanwhile, if you want to look at the ARB results there, Rob, there's a fit. Someone arbed $4 to Joey Bosa on my roster, which is hilarious. I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but it happened. It was a thing. My ARB is wild, actually.
I saw a comment in the Slack general chat that they wanted to match the Nick Bosa on my roster. So yeah.
So I got $4 and Nick Bosa got none.
I believe so.
I mean, I don't really care. I'm not married to Joey Bosa in any you know, like I just want to know who's going to pay $7 for him.
Yeah, Nick Bosa is still $7.
And now so is Joey.
Yeah.
Only difference is Joey's what, 32 years old?
He's also not the pass rusher that
he was.
Nick Bosa is.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I sit here and I stare at this and I looked at it. I don't sit here at all because I'm just, typing or writing things in and erasing. But what did I do with them? Oh. Black. What did I do with the damn blue? I put a blue marker somewhere, but I guess it doesn't really matter as long as it says a number. I just don't understand. That was a good one. My whole ARB, all of my ARB is just absolutely wild. Looks like we got about 9 minutes on this video. All right. 2 1 2 2 2 3 2 4 2 5 2 6. That. Now I got to change up the team names too because those aren't the same. It's a whole thing. Your next pick in this draft after 1-7 is 3-4. Is that correct? That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a second round pick.
I believe that's still mine. I could have left that one. That's still Taylor. That is.
Team I used my second round pick to acquire one Tyreek Hill in the offseason last year. I believe that's that trade.
I mean, that could be there's definitely worse ways to use a second round pick. We'll call it that way. Dorn has 210. Do you happen to have the draft order in front of you? If not, it's fine. I know a few of these.
Yeah, so I have round two. I have Whacker, Jamie, Matt, Derek, Taylor, Derek, Jimmy, Cole, Whacker, Dorn. But I'm not sure the accuracy of that because
I think you're close, if
I
not
don't
dead on.
know. But
I will just double check with mine.
there was an updated one put into the
That was with the trades that I did the other day. That's the fourth and the fifth rounder. The top 28 or 30 picks in this haven't changed, I don't think. Yeah,
okay.
I have the same thing. Yeah, I have exactly what you just said. So,
Okay.
all right. So that leaves me with 2-1 with Whacker. And you just did. You see, here's the thing: is you took a running back, and I feel like he's not going to go double running back, is he? That's my thought. I don't think he's going to go double running back, which leaves him with a tight end, which doesn't exist in this section of the board, or a wide receiver that he doesn't really need.
Yeah, this is a tricky one.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll branch out. Oh, there's the blue marker I was looking for. Just sitting up there the whole damn time. I'll go Brian. I'll go Brian Thomas Jr. I'm gonna go with the wide receiver.
Right.
I know it's a tough one. I think honestly, if nothing else, it gives them trade bait. So, and you are up at 2-2 with Jimmy.
All right. The little buff boys in this roster here. Oh, just looked at the arbitration there. CJ Stroud got slammed as projected.
Same with Jordan Love. Is there any surprise for this?
No surprise at all.
He got the same amount as Jordan Love. Didn't you feel better?
I feel a little bit better about it.
Sam Laporta got $21. Puka got 19.
Do you have the list as to
For
how
everybody?
much
Yeah.
is on everybody? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Did you?
have everybody.
Oh, because I didn't click on that. There we go. Now I see all the results. I was just trying to do the math mentally for everybody, just trying to remember who was on each team.
Yeah. Dorn got off easy.
Someone put $1 on Rico Dowdle. Interesting. Well, he may be the starter.
He's going to be involved for
But
sure.
they brought back Zeke. Yeah. Okay, back to it. Back to it here.
Yep.
Let's see. We got Jimmy. I got caught up in CJ Stroud arbitration. Look at my dynasty rankings here. He's got a plethora of sophomore receivers. I'm gonna slot Blake Corum in here.
You're going to go Blake Corum at 2-2.
I'm gonna go Blake Corum. Not sure how I feel about that, but that's what I'm doing.
See, that's you know what? He's not getting past 2-3 in my opinion. I think Matt putting it out there, putting it in the world. He has Kyron. The logical answer would be if Kyron's going to be the small person and keep getting hurt, you need the handcuff. That's Corum now. They spent the draft capital on Corum. So if it's not going to 2-2, he would have been there at 3-3 or 2-3. So I'm with you there. But that leaves me in a bit of a predicament here, because that was I have repeatedly, honestly, mocked Corum to the mustards, the Bijan mustards. Yes. Let me go back and take a look at the roster if I can ever tap on the right app. There we go. And you know what? He has Marvin Harrison Jr. He went MHJ in the first round of this draft. Running back isn't the hugest need, but there's obviously, I think, not obviously, shouldn't say that. I can't say obviously, and I think that's very counterintuitive. But I think Austin Eckler's a free agent, and I think Joe Mixon ends up being a free agent because of his cost and what his role would be in that offense. Not to say it's bad, but I think that is at least a possibility.
I would say more likely Austin Eckler, just
Yeah,
because
he's just going to be
just
a pet.
they have Brian Robinson,
Yeah,
so much more limited role. I feel like that is a more straightforward cut to be made.
yeah. Um, Watson, Waddle, Slayton, Mims, Metcalf, Marquise is going to be tough. Marquise is a tough value right now. I see only like really, you know what? I'm gonna go back to wide receiver. I think if you don't have Corum there and to shore up the handcuff, you got to go wide receiver. And let's see who else is available for wide receiver. There's somebody else in this tier who I'm missing. We got Ladd, we got Brian Thomas.
Keon Coleman, is that who?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go Keon Coleman. Young wide receiver. He has plenty of wide receivers, really. Like we know that. It's getting to the point though where it doesn't. You're not really filling holes. You've done that already. Anyone who needs to fill a hole has probably done it. Should have done it at least in this point. It's more or less coming to, or at least your most primary hole, right? I think the next thing is to fill in and try and take us at least a stab at something you can use for, if not trade, you can use it next year. Marvin Mims is a question mark. Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton aren't dependable. Christian Watson's been hurt a little bit. Marquise Brown's a question mark. I feel like wide receiver, even with Marvin Harrison Jr., this makes sense. Okay. We're finally back after plenty of technological issues. Rob, you are on the clock at 2-4 with my pick. So the ball's in your court, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. I took Jonathan Brooks for you here in the first round. Looking through these dynasty rankings that I got here. You know, I'm gonna get a little crazy here. I'm gonna throw the pick at JJ McCarthy.
JJ.
You got two quarterbacks on the roster. Why not go for a third one? He might not play for a little while, but I'll throw JJ McCarthy there.
All right. JJ at number 4. I have Taylor at 2-5. I'm gonna jump right into it. I think he's handcuffing Devon Achane. I think Raheem Mostert is still 31 years old and eventually won't be there anymore, even though they continue to assign him and extend his contract. And I continue to pretend that Jalen Wright will be able to fill in for whoever's injured, whether it's Devon Achane or Jalen Wright or Raheem Mostert. So I'm going Jalen Wright.
Huh?
And now I'm back on the board
All
at
right,
2-6.
back to you. Oh boy, back again. All right, let's see what we got here. Do 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 do.
All right.
Okay, I'm
You're good.
in between two options here.
Oh,
Just where we're at here.
I have two people in my head right now. And I'm interested. Again, we're a deep ways into the specifics watering hole to get to this exact draft as we are. I have two people in my head, and I don't think you'll think of one. I don't think you will.
Okay. I'm gonna go Marshawn Lloyd here.
Okay. Marshawn Lloyd, the probably for sure running back 2 in Green Bay.
I don't know. For some reason, they still think AJ Dillon's something. So
Well, that's what training camp and
I don't know.
preseason's for, right? You're supposed to order them. So,
Yeah.
2-7 with Jimmy. Um, oh gosh, let me look at my roster again. I can't hold the mic too close to the phone because it picks it up. It does like that little blubber thing on my side, like the wavy thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like. We got him. We got him. We got him. He's gone. He's gone. It's a tough gambit right here. I am. And what is his roster? So it looks like Jimmy is working with Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud, potential for Aiden O'Connell. And then it's Aaron Jones, the pair of Pittsburgh. I mean, and he took Blake Corum at 2. At 2, I saw, I heard your logic and it's not wrong. He has several sophomore wide receivers. He has Justin Jefferson. He also has an aging wide receiver. 2 if you count Robert Woods, but I think he's probably free agent bound. Tyler Lockett is there. He's got a couple other cut candidates. Jahan Dotson got lost in the fray last year. So I'm gonna go wide receiver here. And I think I'm gonna go Ricky Pearsall. Yeah, sure. Let's do Ricky Pearsall. I believe I think I saw something that said he was having a good camp for the 49ers as well. There was one other running wide receiver I could have gone with, but I don't know. All right. So you have 2-8. You are with Colton. Young Joker's demise. Several really good players on the board still. What says you?
I feel like I've made every single pick for him thus far.
That's true. He has
Um,
all the evens, even though, or yeah, he has all the evens and you have the odd. That's it.
okay, let's see here. Alrighty. Well, we took rock hours for him. We took. I'm drawing a blank on the other one.
Neighbors. Neighbors at 1-4.
Neighbor, neighbors, and Bowers. Okay. All right, I like to go a little QB heavy. I'm gonna take Bo Nix for him.
I knew you were gonna do it.
Going Bo Nix there.
I think that's smart. I think that's smart. If it breaks this way, that should be the pick for Colton. If I say so myself, he already has Stidham. Did a fantastic job getting all the way down to 2-8 with Bo Nix. So that's a bit of a steal. Well, if it works out for him anyway. He's had a decent to very good camp from what I've read. So now we're back with Whacker at 2-9. His 4th in the first 19 picks. Starting to look like me last year, where I had 24% of all the draft picks. Somehow. So, I mean, again, at this point, you're going depth, right? If not best available, he's filled some holes. You don't see anybody who's going to make an immediate impact at this point for given his roster. We're out of quarterbacks that'll make an immediate impact or even a semi-immediate impact. So for me, I think I'm going to go. He's already got Richardson. I'll go Adonai Mitchell. And that puts you back on the clock at 210 with Dorn. There's a lot of You're fine. There's a lot of different sway. These two have a the first 20 picks are really important to Dorn and Whack. Like
Yeah,
they are
especially kind of rebuild scenario.
probably more Whack than Dorn, but yes, I mean Dorn got hit with some injury issues last year and held a bad record for it. So
Well, I wanted to take the good countryman Xavier Legette, but I can't do it because he's got two Panthers receivers already.
yep.
So that threw that one out the window for me. So now I gotta look through to see who I would think would be the next best option here. Uh,
I don't I don't know if it's a again at this point I feel like you're kind of going depth piece-ish if I may say so myself. I don't. What position do you think he would draft here? Because I got nothing
No,
myself.
I was leaning towards taking uh, tight end here, um, just because the only real. I mean, he's got Jake Ferguson, he's got Chiggy Okonkwo. Outside of that, I mean, he's got Gerald Everett, but he's back up to Cole Kmet.
Mhm.
I think I might take Ben Sinet, the tight end for the Commanders. Take that here. Take that pick here.
Okay. All right. So we got again, don't need to read it, but Brian Thomas Jr., Blake Corum, Keon Coleman, JJ McCarthy, Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Ricky Pearsall, Bo Nix, AD Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell, and Ben Senate, Ben Senate, Senator. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but tight end for the Washington Commanders, fresh draft at 210. So real quick, I'm gonna organize the board again, and we're gonna do round three. It'll be our final round. So this is where
Buffalo.
this is where things get crazy. This is where it gets wild because we have no idea. Defense is gonna start sliding somewhere in here. This is the third round. It's almost always where defense comes in.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, we're back. Round three. Let's see. So now it's a little tough because both of us have even number picks and you have an odd number pick. So we're just gonna have to we're just gonna go with whoever's the opposite, right? So we'll let you start or I'll start here. You can go for me, and then I'll go, and then I'll go, and then you'll go, and you'll go, and we'll figure it out. So it's a bit of a mess. So I have the second, the sixth, and the 10th pick, and then Rob here has the seventh pick, and then also has this pick up here, which is oh, I'm a little high. There it is, 3, 4. He has the fourth and the seventh in this round. So half of this round is between us. We did good here. This is nice.
Let's go.
Let's go. Assets. Let's fucking go. Assets. Yeah. All right. So I'll go for Whack. And again, you're kind of just at this point, again, you got to be filling in. I'm gonna go he's got Adonai, yeah, there's nothing really amazing that stands out from a wide receiver point of view. Um, oh boy. I think I will. Wow, this is This is gonna be wild, but I shouldn't hold myself to a high standard. So you know what? I'll go Jalen Polk. Much to the chagrin of Taylor. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Taylor
Taylor,
doesn't need numbers.
he wants to match the Polk in the May. That's what's gonna happen there. All right, so you got me at number 2.
All right. I'm doing it. I'm taking a defensive player. Probably my favorite.
You know me so well.
And my favorite defensive player. Probably in this class. Uh, Jared Verse, because he represents upstate New York, where I'm from. He went to U Albany, then transferred to Florida State. So
I live. Do you know
I,
I live 5 miles south of Albany, right?
I knew that you lived in the area based
Yes.
on information with Ian and Dalton.
Go Albany. I love your thought process, by the way.
Yeah,
And you
I
and I know that me and Rob, we don't exchange a lot of draft talk. He's noticed, just so everybody knows, and this is something else that should be pointed out as a learning curve for the people who are watching and learning from Dynasty. He knows the draft tendencies. I said one earlier. Taylor doesn't draft tight ends. He doesn't like them. He's been burnt by them a couple times, so he doesn't draft tight ends. Rob has noticed that I have drafted the first defensive player off the board for 2 years in a row. And actually, last year I think I got the first 2 or 3 off the board last year. I had Will Anderson and Jalen Carter last year. So you've noticed that I am the first person to go with the defensive player, and especially with the new scoring format, it's going to be a race. I don't think it's just necessarily me here, but there's like that's a great point that you bring this up. You said, all right, I'm going defensive. You're right. That's what I've done. So points to you, sir. Points to you.
thank you.
You're
I'll
welcome.
take points when I can get them.
Third pick, Matt. I don't know if Matt's gonna go defense yet. So, um, oh boy. Okay. Eh. Hmm. I like the. We'll do Leggett.
The good old countryman.
Yeah. I don't know. This is where you could see the defensive players go. I'm not settled on it for him in this particular scenario, but I'll take him at 3, and then you're at 4, so I'm gonna pick for you. And I don't think you would go defense here either, myself. And that's another draft tendency. You don't have to tell me, but that's just my tendency. Seems that you take defense later than the first picks when there's good offensive players on the board. And I feel
Or
like
sometimes not at all.
what was that?
Or sometimes no defense in the rookie draft at all.
Correct. There you go. I've noticed, and it's not that's where you're going to find your point scoring deep players that you can get in the 5th and 6th round that turn into gold. That in a year's time you may be able to trade for a 2nd rounder or a 3rd rounder or more. So I think with Polk off the board, that would have been the pick here for you, and if he was still available, because it just seems like he's going to be playing a whole heck of a lot. Um. Let's see here. Wilson's hurt. You know what? Another open back or another open. It's all depth pieces anyway, right? Is it dart throws? Kind of dart throws, right? Nobody there. Nobody there. Just glancing at your roster again one more time because I can't memorize all, I don't know, 530 people that we have on all of the rosters. I think you're pretty set there. You're pretty good. Tyreek Hill is such a good player. God. I'm gonna go Troy Franklin. Uh-oh. I got my marker wet. There we go. He slid in the draft. He was at one point a high 2nd round prospect, and fell all the way to what? Fourth round?
Yeah, I don't remember correctly, but he
Yeah.
does have connection with Bo Nix. They both went to Oregon, so they already have that chemistry there. So Bo Nix ends up being the starter, which I think in due time he will.
Yep.
Um, can't say I hate that pick.
You are up. I'll give you the fifth and the sixth overall for Taylor and me.
Okay, all right, gotta deep dive into Taylor's roster here. See what we can find. See what we can find here that would make sense for a mock draft selection.
There's I mean Javon Baker still. That's a tough one to ignore when you talk about somebody who just drafted their own team's quarterback.
Yeah, I yeah,
Personally,
I, yeah, but he has multiple Patriots receivers already on his roster. But
he does have Kendrick Bourne. I forgot about that.
no, he doesn't have Kendrick Bourne. He
He doesn't.
has
Oh,
Keisha Booty and Tyquan Thornton. He
I
did have.
mean,
He
are
did
they
have.
gonna be
Yeah.
receivers?
Are they gonna be on the team? Are they gonna be on his roster given the price they are at? Maybe. All right, let's do it. Let's put Javon Baker there.
I mean, it looks like the if you follow the camp trends, the top three right now look like Demario Douglas, in no particular order. Demario Douglas, Baker, Polk. Those are your starters as of now. They just cut Juju today. Kendrick Bourne, I guess, could be in there as well. Veteran leadership, etc. Butte never took off last year. Tyquan Thornton was halfway decent when everybody was hurt. So I don't. I that's just my opinion on it. It is also a completely different coaching staff. So
Yeah, it's hard to.
what tendencies for last year are kind of out the window. I am up at the sixth overall pick.
Yeah, I think I'm already gonna make my selection here. Um, kind of just because of handcuff situation base that you have. Um, Rashad White. I'm gonna I'm gonna slot in Bucky Irvin on your team here.
All right. He's a radar player for me. Not gonna say I hate that.
Uh,
Uh,
slot.
uh I'm gonna go. I think low risk, high reward. I'll take 7 and 8 real quick for both you and Matt. Um I'm gonna go. You know what? Just for spits and giggles, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna throw you Penix. He's got to go at some point. He's not gonna go in the first two rounds, given his landing spot. Um, but I feel like that's a move that could pay off in not too long a time. I really do. And he's had a good camp. Um, apparently he's kind of impressed the coaching staff. So it's an out there pick that would kind of shake the draft. And who else to do it but our man Rob? So, and then Matt at 3-8. I like the Bucky Irving pick. I was gonna go back to the running back for him, so I'll go Cavani Vidal. And that leaves you with Taylor and me at 9 and 10 for our last two picks. Got about 3 minutes.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. For Taylor, I'm going to go Jalen McMillan, wide receiver for the Buccaneers.
Ooh, I like that one.
I think if either Godwin or Evans kind of falls off a little bit or gets injured, he could slot in and be a good fit there.
I agree.
And right
Now you got to find the hole with my roster.
now, I gotta find who I want to end round 3 with.
A lot of anticipation on this one.
All right, I'm gonna go back to defense. I'm gonna give you Dallas Turner.
Dallas Turner. There's a lot of, so I was thinking defense here for Taylor, and I approached it from Matt because I feel like we're going to have more than just 2 defensive players in the 3rd round. But at the end of the day, this is how deep the wide receiver and running back class is. But Vidal does not have far to go to be a lead back at the Chargers. Penix doesn't really have far to go. Kirk Cousins is already 8. Bucky Irving takes Rashad White no time to go down, and he's there. Javon Baker could be a starter. Troy Franklin, like you said, already has this rapport with Bo Nix. Jalen McMillan, all it takes is this class is so damn deep that this could be the complete opposite. This could be dead on, like as far as offense to defensive ratio. So I like our draft. We've completed all 3 rounds. I will put it up somewhere on the video. I'll edit in all of the rounds so that we can see all of the picks, and then our faces won't be there because the power of editing is a magnificent thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a fantastic thing. But that is our rookie mock draft. I may have another one before we actually draft. We don't start drafting until the 16th. This hits the channel on the 12th. So, with that being said, keep your eyes peeled. I may have some more guests. But for this episode, Rob, thank you for joining me and for mocking with me.
Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. From the Fantasy Flyer, we will end it the same way we have for like 3 seasons now. It's Bob Barker. You guys take care. Be good.
Bob Barker reminding you, help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody.